Hello, all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am going to be dubbing the Christmas Eve beer review. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know what I'm doing, drinking at 7 o'clock at night because I have to get up super early tomorrow for a Christmas party, but I'm going to do it anyway. Pretty lightly, though. I'm probably only going to have a couple beers tonight. Of course, one of those beers being a tall boy, though. Anyways, what are we reviewing tonight? Another from the Samuel Adams Winter Pack. This is the Holiday White Ale, ale brewed with spices. 5.8 ABV, 8 IBUs, so not very bitter at all. Let's read the back label, shall we? Ah, the holidays, full of friends, family, festive partners, and last-minute gifts and food mishaps. Whatever happens, this beer is your trusty plus one, smoothing things over with orange peel and holiday spices. So yeah, you can see my eyes are getting bad. We're gonna need to get those glasses soon. Aging. Anyways, so compared to the previous, the winter lager, in which the adjuncts were sort of an add-on on top of those malts to go and blend together. This one is really all about the adjuncts. But enough of preview there. Let's just get to this, shall we? I'm going to be pouring this into Belgian. Cloudy golden orange. So cloudy, can't really tell what the level of carbonation is. With a thick, fluffy, off-white head that is redolent of wheaten funkiness, sweet orange peel, perhaps touches of coriander, if I am correct, and maybe some other spices too. I'm smelling a little bit of allspice. Allspice, cinnamon. As compared to the holiday lager, which this was sitting on top of the malt base, those adjuncts are front and center in the bouquet. On to the tasting. Crackery, funky wheat from start and into the finish. Surrounded all about by big, zesty, oily orange peel. Moderate carbonation bite. And a residual sweetness that lasts and lasts on the tongue, which is kind of interesting because it's somewhat dry on the palate while it's in your mouth, but more sweet once it leaves it, interestingly enough. I can see this beer being a love or hate beer. There's taste. If you're a person who's sensitive to, that's why I think there's coriander in here. It has that flavor that a lot of people will detect as overwhelmingly soapy. I don't detect it as overwhelmingly soapy. It's a pretty prominent flavor note, but it's something around which the rest of the adjuncts are sort of revolving, as well as the wheat essence. But definitely there in the base, and especially on top in the finish. Pretty interesting how it's not too sweet when it's in the mouth, but your taste buds perceive sweetness in the time after you swallow. Not boozy, but just a little bit too heavy to actually be really refreshing on the palate. All in all, a decent example of a wheat ale with the heavy addition of adjuncts, which includes orange peel and holiday spices, which I guess cinnamon and allspice and all those other great things, as well as coriander. And if that's your jam, pretty drinkable. If that's not your jam, you're probably going to find this unbelievably soapy, scented, overwhelming, and honestly not very beer flavored, though I would say that it's towards a style in regards to a wheat ale with heavy use of adjuncts. And yeah, Witbier, I suppose I should call it, since that's what it's called within Beer Advocate's style guide. Yes, this is either going to be a love it or hate it beer. And I think if you love it or hate it, you already kind of know it. And if you haven't had this kind of style before, you're going to sip it and find out whether you love it or hate it. Me, I don't really particularly love it or hate it. It's drinkable to me, but it's not something I'm going to really be seeking out. And yeah, that's your beer review for tonight. So I've kind of run out of things to say. All that's left to review is really the holiday porter. I don't know if I'm going to go and pick up something from uh, Whole Foods later on to do for the last review of the year. Because, like I said, January is going to be a sober month for me, and goodness knows I need it. So, yeah, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Sam Adams, Holiday White Ale. If it's your thing, it's your thing. Cheers.